Okay, so I wanted to show you again kind of what we did yesterday on getting some of the CSS to edit the look at the site. So I'm in Chrome here, and this is obviously your site. We're in this product, and then it's the bathroom remodel budget kit. Um, and this is basically, I should probably start from the beginning. Um, so basically what we need to do to get to the inspector to find what we're going to edit, you're going to either do like the little two-finger click or right-click depending on what you're using, but we need to go to inspect. So that's going to open up the inspector. This option right here gives you mobile view and others. So like I've already got this screen compressed down quite a bit over here, but you can see that we're at 425 pixels wide. If this were open more, we could go 768, 1024, but just 1024 is fine. It's a little bit of a better view there. I like this pane a little wider, but I'm trying to fit this all inside of one screen so it's easy enough to see. Okay, anyways, let's do this. So we're going to go, and with this tool, we're going to select an element on the page to inspect it. Excuse me. So here's our cart button that we changed the color of. So we can see that this is, if we didn't have this edit, this would be what originally WooCommerce was styling. And it's basically this one right here specifically is this. So we're in, get up here to find this thing, class. Where is the top of that class? So WooCommerce is the class, and I'm guessing that's up here a little higher up in the hierarchy of the page. Trying to find it. WooCommerce is on the body. So you can see here's the body. That's going to be everything. But WooCommerce is right here. Right there where I'm trying to click. So that's where the body, that's where our body class comes from. So let's get back down to inspect this guy, inspect that item right there. So again, here's WooCommerce is that top class, and that's on the body. And then we go to button right there, and that's without a class, so that's an element. So button, and then this button has a class of button, and it also has a class of alt. So they're tagging these two classes together, and that's what we did right here. WooCommerce is on the body. No, it's this one. Button.alt. So that's two classes on that element of button right there. It's these two guys on this button. So now what we can do is you can basically you can just grab this whole thing, and that's what we did. So this is so now, and that's how it worked on the other elements that we had too, because you can see that with this thing here, with the commas in between, I've got it laid out a little easier to read. But so WooCommerce is the body. There's an ID. The pound is for an ID, and the period is for a class. So you have IDs and classes. IDs are more powerful than classes, so we're going to use IDs to tag things if we need to get a little more specific. And this is also specificity here. You can see the specificity selectors 2, 2, 1. So it's saying that hey, here's something on the body, and there's another ID, and you can add these up, and the higher the specificity is, the more powerful your CSS is going to be. It'll override other things. But what we did here is a cheat by putting important on there. We could also avoid that by maybe if there's an ID on the body, we can chain that up on here too. You can also add, so here's an ID of primary and here's an ID of main. We could have tagged these IDs inside of here. So WooCommerce is the body, and then you could say, okay, with an ID of primary and then an ID of main in between these two things, that would probably allow us to not have to use the important tag because we're giving a little more power to our selectors by hitting these IDs. Okay, anyways, we can see that this is the thing that was targeting that button, and our background color there was being overridden. It was overriding what Elementor had set up. So we're just going to grab all those and then say, hey, this is the one thing we want to change. The color is fine, so we're going to leave that, but this background color, and that's what we did here. So that's what we're doing to go and grab these items. Further down the line, what was our display none? We had, we're still in this page, related products right here. So get on that. See, you can have display block is being written out, and we have display none, and that's our code right here that's overriding this. So it's related products, so that's related products, but then you can see this class of related is two classes, related and products. We chained those together, but then adding this ID of main, it bumped it up yet another. Where is that? So here. So here's our specificity selector. It's a little different, 3. But we've got an ID and then these two classes that came out of this div. And there are 2 in there. This is just one class because it's underscore. This is like one word essentially. Whereas down here, this is actually 2 words without the space in between. So we're going to copy and paste these things from here into here. And then just for example, let's do this. Let's say we want to grab this tab. So this is an unordered list with just one list item in it, and it's description tab, and then it's active. So it's going to have a different class. If there are a bunch of these inside of this, this is an unordered list, and this is a list item. If there are multiple list items in this unordered list, the other ones would likely not have this extra class of active on it, and we can target things that way too. So that happens quite a bit in Elementor, where like right now, for example, if we inspect this, it doesn't have it. It's just this. But let's go ahead and open this, for example, and you see that that just changed its class, Elementor active. So that's one way to target things too. So now you can say, hey, when this item here is active, you can change the class on it then. And just for example, this it'll change what's inside of it. I'm getting in the weeds there. I'm not going to mess with that. But yeah, I just wanted to show again how we got to copying these things out. And then let's put this in the cart. We can go to a different page and look at something else. Okay, so for example, let's do this. Let's go, I changed this line to blue yesterday, but let's go and make this button different. So what we can do is we're going to inspect that. So now this thing is just a link essentially, but we already changed that, and you can see that this is WooCommerce on the body again, and then it's an A, which is an anchor tag, A tag, and this A tag has a class of button, and it also has a class of alt. It has 2 different, well, checkout button, button, alt, and WC-4. It has 4 classes on it essentially. But because we already grabbed this one right here, that's the class on that, so we're doing our background color. But now let's check this out. So we've got margin bottom. You can see that it's lit up there with that little yellow. So that's our margin bottom. Here's our font size. Here's our padding. Let's say maybe we don't need this button to be as wide as what it is. So we could maybe zero that out. Or maybe we just want just some padding on the top and bottom. So it'd be like 10 pixels top and bottom, and then none on the sides. So we can make it a little smaller. So what we're going to do for that example is going to grab this and go ahead and prefab that for us. And then because we're doing, this was the WooCommerce link, like so. So now that would look like this instead of being that big tall button. Once we were to stick that in our, actually I think I even have your site dashboard open still, but we'll put that together at some point. Just, trying to do these as an example type thing. Maybe this button, we want to change the color on that. And you can go again where, let's find the class. Okay, here's our background color. It's this EBE9EB. And you can see that it's WooCommerce button.button. So it's a WooCommerce is on the body. Button is our HTML element, and our class is button. So that's this guy out of this bunch. But if we wanted to, we get in there and grab, grab just this class. It's kind of trickier to grab these in a chain. Let's grab that thing and then put that in here. Get our little curly braces. This is our background color. Gonna grab that, paste that in there, and make it red. You can do different sorts of things like that. Green is also valid. You can give it a hex value. You could abbreviate a hex value. So that would basically change the background on there, and that's doing this. You just wanted to have it with kind of no background. And then, so this again will get just copied and pasted into the customizer. So I hope that's helpful, but that's one way to go through and with cut and paste and inspector, just kind of poking around a little bit to find these things. Add them to your style sheet, and then we'll add it to the site. And then again, these media queries, media screen, and min width 768 pixels. And then if you wanted to do something like that, you would then take, where was that one that we did, this guy? Take and drop that in here, and if you wanted to, what we're going to do, tab this so it looks nice. We're going to go ahead and make this 20 pixels. So it's going to be, what this would do is basically the button's going to be that size when it's on mobile, and then once you go up to 768, you would essentially just add a little more padding to the top if you want it to be a little thicker. And that's how media queries work. And then, like I was getting at, this stuff is going to happen all the time. And then once you're above 768 pixels, this is what happens. And then you basically do this again and put example 1024 in there, and then you could have this be even bigger still. So it's going to read this first, this second, and this last, and that's the cascading style sheet. Okay, I hope that's helpful. That's what we missed yesterday. I'll see you in a bit.